Want to do better planks? Hi, I'm Alison Crouch from Move Smart Movement. I have osteoporosis, and this is one of my videos to help you build wrist mobility, wrist strength, and core strength in a way that's safe and smart for your spine. One of the things most people dislike about planks is that it's really hard on your wrists, but those of us with bone density really need to add some extra work and some extra load to our wrists. And this little sequence is going to help you feel more comfortable, stronger, and more adept for your planks. Quickly, before we get into this process, I'm going to point out that there are a multitude of ways that you can do planks. You can do them on the wall, you can do them on a piece of furniture, or you can do them on the floor. They're all great. So to begin with, if you have a yoga block, you'll use that to rest your forearm. If you don't, you'll just rest on your leg. Yoga block is a little more stable. I like the yoga tune-up balls from Tune-Up Fitness, but a tennis ball will do. And you're going to work your way along your forearm, pressing the ball gently down and then using the ball to push the tissue on your forearm forward. So you're not just rolling on top, you're actually trying to move the muscle and the underlying tissue, the connective tissue, across your forearm bones. Use only as much or as little pressure as feels good to you. Shouldn't feel punishing. And you go all the way down to your wrist and back up to your forearm. And you just glide, glide in and across and in and across and in and across. You can do this for as long as feels good to you. But for the sake of brevity of video, we're going to flip your forearm and do the same thing coming across the bottom of your forearm. And you work in and across. And again, you're trying to use the ball to press the tissue forward more than you're trying to just come right down onto the top of it. If you find a particularly rewarding spot, you could stay there and do a few extra works into that area. And then you'll shift over and do the same thing on the other side. I'm doing this sitting on the floor. You could do this sitting on a chair if sitting on the floor isn't great for you. And you're always going to expect that things feel different from left to right. So your dominant hand forearm is likely to feel a little bit different than your non-dominant side. Working across, working across. I hope this feels good for you, or at least feels vaguely uncomfortable, but in a rewarding kind of way. And then flip your forearm over and again, work your way up and down from wrist to elbow on the bottom of your forearm. And if you don't want to go for as long as I am, that's totally fine. You can just wait me out or fast forward the video. If you want to go longer, just pause until you feel like you're done, and then we will carry on with our next strategy. So you can put the ball and the block aside. And now we're going to work into your wrists. So again, I'm sitting on the floor, but you are welcome to be wherever you are most comfortable. Hold on to your forearm with one hand and make a really good strong fist. And then from here, make a circle with your fist without moving your forearm. So often what we do when we make a circle is, see how my whole forearm is twisting? We want to avoid that. We're trying to super focus on just your wrist. If you feel kind of a clicking or a clunking in your wrist, that's just tissues hopping, and you could make your circles a little bit smaller until you don't feel the clicking, clunking. That often is really helpful. It adapts your body to the movement. It helps your tissues to warm up, and then you can gradually make your circle bigger again and then change directions. You're really making a strong fist. You set your trunk, you set your chest. You don't want anything else moving here. And you could do this standing if you want, if sitting is a less comfortable position for you. And then we shift over and we do the same thing on the other side. Use one arm and one hand to totally stabilize your forearm. Really strong fist. And then circle only from your wrist and only in the size of circle that feels strong and fluid and competent, right? You want to feel like, yes, I am actually making a circle, as opposed to you're trying to go so big that it becomes more like an oblong. 2 more in this direction. We're going to get to the planks, I promise. And change directions. Circle and circle. And as per usual, totally could be a different size or feeling of circle compared to the other side. Last 2. Last 1. And then relax. And now you can stand up. Now we're going to mobilize your elbow and your forearm. So again, it's important that nothing else moves. So plant your feet into the floor, strong through your legs. You could think of engaging your inner thighs a little bit and pulling your legs towards each other, pulling your legs into your hip sockets, engaging your trunk. So everything is very strong like a tree trunk. Straighten out your left arm, fingers spread wide, with your arm lined up with the center of your torso. And then bend your elbow without moving your elbow in space. So it's just your forearm coming up, and come up and squeeze your bicep and your forearm together. So you're making big effort. And then turn your hand to face forward and push down. And turn and pull and squeeze and turn and press. And the whole time you do this, you're putting effort into the movement. So it's not just, flying around in space as though you were going through your favorite flavor of Jell-O. One more time, turn your palm forward. Nothing else moves. Your arm doesn't move in space, only your forearm. Squeeze your bicep and your forearm together. Turn, press down, and now hold the back of your hand pointing forward, and we'll do the same thing in reverse. Pull up and squeeze with your palm facing forward, and then spin and press down. And 2. Pull, turn, press, turn, and 3. And 2. One more time. Back of your hand faces forward, back of your hand pulling towards your shoulder. And you're keeping your wrist long all the time, right? So when you pull up, this is what's pulling, this is what's squeezing, as opposed to you're pulling your fingers back. And then relax that arm. And if you look at your thumbs, you may find that the one that you've just worked is pointing straight forward. And the one you have not yet worked is pointing more across towards the midline. This is the organization that we want, and this actually helps your planks to work better. Weird but true. Same thing for the other side. Plant your legs, set your core, set your chest. Maybe use your hand on your chest to just make sure nothing's twisting or moving. Turn your palm to face forward. Line your arm up with the middle of your trunk. And pull and squeeze and turn and press. And it's exactly the same thing. We get this nice effort, rotation of your forearm bones, pressing down and turn. You have 2 forearm bones, and as you do this motion, they kind of rotate. It's called pronation and supination when you have this turning of the bones relative to each other. And press down. One more time. Turn, pull, squeeze really hard. Turn your hand again while still squeezing. Press down. Keep the back of your hand pointing forward and do the same thing with the opposite rotation. Turn, squeeze, turn. A. 2 more. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. 11. 12. 13. 14. 15. 16. 17. 18. 19. 20. 21. 22. 23. 24. 25. 26. 27. 28. 29. 30. 31. 32. 33. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. 40. 41. 42. 43. 44. 45. 46. 47. 48. 49. 50. 51. 52. 53. 54. 55. 56. 57. 58. 59. 60. 61. 62. 63. 64. 65. 66. 67. 68. 69. 70. 71. 72. 73. 74. 75. 76. 77. 78. 79. 80. 81. 82. 83. 84. 85. 86. 87. 88. 89. 90. 91. 92. 93. 94. 95. 96. 97. 98. 99. 100. 101. 102. 103. 104. 105. 106. 107. 108. 109. 110. 111. 112. 113. 114. 115. 116. 117. 118. 119. 120. 1 And last one. And then relax your arms. And again, if you take a look, hopefully your thumbs are now pointing forward, which is great. And then you have options when it comes to your plank positioning. If you choose this option, you'll have your fingers wide, and the farther back you take your feet, the more challenging the plank will be, up to a certain point when you should probably change your angle. Press against the wall and keep your elbows nice and straight, long line through the back of your neck, line up your ribs to your pelvis. If that's your option, that's a really good one. Maybe a better choice for you is supported on a piece of furniture, needs to be sturdy, a chair, a desk, a table, same thing. Fingers spread wide, connect into your baby fingers, long line through your trunk, opening the fronts of your hips. Or maybe you're coming right down onto the floor for a full plank or a knees down plank, whichever you prefer. One of the other things to take note of is if this is an uncomfortable position for you, and maybe it's less uncomfortable than it normally is after having done all that warm up, you have a couple of options here too. You can roll up your mat and put the base of your palms on your mat so you're giving yourself a less dramatic angle. You could go onto your gorilla fists, although that's going to do a different kind of loading for your wrists. Or you could come onto this position and you only hold it for as long as your wrists are happy, and then you come off and give them a break. In any of these cases, you're going to start with your fingers spread wide, your middle fingers pointing forward, and a little extra pressure into your baby fingers. Step out into your plank, press your shoulder blades wide, long through the back of your neck, and lift the bottom of your rib cage without also lifting your butt. Reach your heels towards the wall behind you and hold for as long as makes sense for you. So I'm chatting away to distract you a little bit. But if you need to take a break and bring your knees down or shift back, that's exactly what you will do. And you hold. You can think of pulling your inner thighs together so you're active through your legs, reaching your heels behind you. Try not to dump your pelvis or hike your pelvis up. If you need to do that kind of change in position, that's fine, but we're striving for this long line, and maybe if you can't keep the long line, one of the other positions is a better choice for you. One more nice big breath. And then bend your knees, shift back off your hands, and finish. Now you are letting your forearms, your hands, and your wrists all move together, and you circle back the other way. Thanks for watching. Are you interested in other kinds of movement, in other exercises that are great for your spine and great for your bones? Let me know in the comments and I'll make a video for you.